Welcome, fellow knowledge explorers, to another deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a topic that truly challenges our perceptions of health, power, and personal responsibility.
Hmm.
We've got a stack of sources that are going to make us question, well, pretty much everything we thought we knew about staying well, and really make us think about our own agency.
Yeah,
These aren't just academic papers. They're a potent mix of, ancient wisdom and quite cutting modern medical critique.
indeed. This deep dive is a powerful exploration of how we navigate a world just saturated with information and sometimes, well, misinformation, especially when it comes to our health.
Definitely.
We'll be connecting ancient wisdom with modern challenges, revealing some really fascinating insights into both systemic issues and, crucially, individual empowerment. What's particularly striking, I think, is how the sources peel back layers of conventional thinking to expose these underlying dynamics.
Right. So our mission today is to unpack the intricate relationship between individual free will and the current healthcare system. We'll be examining claims of how fear and institutional control might influence our choices.
That's key, the fear aspect.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And we'll look at the urgent issue of antibiotic resistance, a crisis that's, well, it's forcing a reckoning now, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
You can't ignore it anymore.
And we'll introduce a revolutionary approach called Dr. Maya, which aims to empower you, the listener, to reclaim your health. And woven through it all is this profound concept of dharma, suggesting a path to truth and harmony that sort of transcends specific eras.
And this deep dive, it presents a really bold critique of the status quo, offering a new lens through which to view our well-being. It moves us from a posture of dependency towards one of, well, profound empowerment.
Empowerment, yeah.
And we'll also delve into the concept of Maya itself, not just as a name, like Dr. Maya, but as an ancient understanding of illusion.
Right, the capital M Maya.
Exactly. And how acknowledging this illusion can be key to unlocking better health and a more independent approach to our well-being. The sources imply that understanding this illusion is crucial to breaking free from systems that maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally diminish our agency.
Okay, so just to give you a sense of what we're working with here, our sources span from ancient Indian political thought. We're talking seminal texts like the Mahabharata, the Arthashastra, all the way through to a modern doctor's autobiography.
A first-hand account.
Yeah, a first-hand account of grappling with the healthcare system. And then there's this compelling call for healthcare transformation in contemporary society. So yeah, get ready for some serious aha moments, because this deep dive is going to challenge some deeply ingrained beliefs about who truly holds the keys to our health.
It certainly promises to.
Okay, let's begin with a rather provocative claim that runs through our sources, that modern healthcare has, in many ways, become a house of cards built on statistical illusions rather than clinical reality.
Wow, that's a strong start.
It is, right. And this isn't just a casual observation. It's a fundamental critique of how our health systems are structured and managed. The sources point directly to influential institutions like the World Health Organization, the WHO, and the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC.
Big players.
Huge players, suggesting they have, perhaps inadvertently, created what they term a dangerous disconnect between policy and practice. The implication here isn't minor bureaucratic hiccups, it's that these disconnects represent a core flaw that impacts real people's lives.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it suggests a profound chasm, really, between these theoretical constructs and the practical realities on the ground.
Exactly.
Our sources detail how academic theorists, often quite removed from the daily grind of patient care, formulate guidelines based on statistical correlations. These are abstract data points, percentages, trends derived from populations. Precisely, not necessarily individuals. Then, political decision makers, who maybe also lack direct clinical experience, take these statistically derived guidelines and enforce them as universal laws or protocols.
Right, like a top-down mandate.
Exactly. And the fundamental problem, as highlighted, is that this creates a kind of religious-like adherence to data points.
Interesting phrasing.
Isn't it? And in this system, the invaluable real-world clinical experience of doctors on the front lines, those who actually witness the unpredictable nature of human healing and bear the weight of real-time life-or-death decisions, that experience is often dismissed
How so?
as merely anecdotal or unscientific.
Ah, the anecdote dismissal, yeah.
Right. And this is where the concern arises about moral judgments being disguised as evidence-based medicine.
Okay, unpack that a bit. Moral judgments disguise.
Well, what the sources suggest is that subjective ethical considerations like, say, cost-benefit analyses or societal risk tolerance, These things can be presented as purely objective, data-driven conclusions.
I see. So it influences policy under this banner of scientific neutrality rather than being an open ethical debate.
Precisely. And effectively, healthcare professionals who deal with critically ill patients daily are then forced to follow these abstract protocols, even when their practical individual patient experience suggests a different, maybe more personalized approach might be needed for the best outcome.
And this critique goes even further, suggesting that this system isn't just inefficient or disconnected. Our sources claim it actively manufactures dependency.
That's a really crucial point, not just a side effect.
Right, it's not just a bug, it's presented as potentially a feature. According to the sources, healthcare professionals as a collective maintain their power through what's described as exclusive access to medical knowledge.
The knowledge monopoly.
Exactly. This isn't necessarily about individual doctors deliberately hiding info, but about the systemic structure that makes medical knowledge complex, often inaccessible to the layperson, gate-kept through specialized education and jargon.
Yeah, the language barrier alone can be huge.
Totally. And this knowledge monopoly actively fosters patient dependency, meaning individuals often feel they have to rely entirely on professional judgment without truly understanding their own conditions.
Right. Which benefits providers by maintaining that hierarchical control.
And crucially, diminishes patient agency, reducing their ability to make truly informed choices about their own bodies and health.
And this leads directly to what our sources call economic exploitation.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, this is where financial interests can unfortunately overshadow patient welfare, pushing individuals towards expensive and potentially unnecessary interventions.
Do they give examples?
They do. The Health in India source provides a pretty stark one, actually. It directly mentions corporate hospitals telling senior surgeons to, quote, sell surgeries to their patients even if they weren't needed, and charging exorbitant costs.
Wow, that's blatant.
It is. And it illustrates a system where profit motives can become deeply entrenched, influencing treatment decisions far removed from the patient's actual best interest.
Which raises that critical question for all of us, doesn't it? How much of what we think is necessary medical intervention is truly for our well-being versus how much is driven by these underlying financial incentives that prioritize the bottom line?
Absolutely. And the sources further argue that decision-making usurpation occurs.
Usurpation.
Yeah, when providers make critical decisions for the patient's own good, but without meaningful consultation or real informed consent, treating individuals almost as if they're incapable of understanding their own circumstances.
So it keeps the patient passive.
Exactly. A passive recipient rather than an active, empowered participant in their own health journey. It perpetuates this cycle where fear of illness and the perceived complexity of medicine drive this continuous reliance on the system.
The picture painted by these sources is one of authoritarian hierarchies and paternalistic control mechanisms.
Strong terms again.
Very. And in this environment, information can be deliberately filtered or withheld, and systems are often made unnecessarily complex and inaccessible.
Which guarantees continued reliance.
Precisely. Ensures continued reliance on professional intervention, even for maybe minor concerns, rather than fostering self-sufficiency. This constant state of dependency, often fueled by fear and a perceived lack of individual knowledge. Well, it means that for many, their free will regarding their own health is slowly eroded.
Leaving them vulnerable.
Yeah, vulnerable to external influences and these profit-driven motives. And this is a crucial part of that veil of illusion, the Maya, that this deep dive is trying to help you, our listeners, see through so you can reclaim your own agency and well-being.
A vital first step. Seeing the illusion.
So if this system actively fosters dependency and operates on what our sources call statistical illusions, what happens when its most fundamental tools begin to fail?
Ah, the consequences.
Exactly. This brings us to a critical consequence of this approach. The escalating crisis of antibiotic resistance.
Which we're hearing more and more about.
We are. And the autobiography of Srivatsasaurus tells a stark tale, one that really brings home the gravity of the situation and maybe the systemic failures that have led us here.
Yeah.
Antibiotics were once hailed as our run-to solution for virtually all ailments known to man. They were the magic bullet, right? The ultimate weapon against bacterial infections.
The miracle drug.
The miracle drug. And the sources argue that with the discovery of antibiotics, doctors, perhaps like other figures in power, they mention religious leaders, financial institutions, lawmakers started to inflict fear, using the promise of these drugs as a means to potentially hoard wealth and power.
Using fear as leverage.
That's the implication. However, the author, who is a medical doctor, now warns of the rapid evolution of superbug diseases due specifically to the wrongful prescription and overuse of these drugs.
So a direct result of misuse.
Yeah, highlighting a profound miscalculation in our long-term strategy.
And what really stands out here is the author's personal experience. It gives this chilling glimpse into the early days of the crisis and the resistance, the sheer resistance to acknowledging it.
What happened?
He recounts how, as early as 1989,
Wow, that far back.
yeah, 1989, a healthy 14-year-old boy died from sepsis caused by Staphylococcus aureus because the antibiotics simply didn't work.
Oh my God, a healthy kid.
Right. And this was a pivotal, frankly, terrifying moment for him. Yet he notes that, quote, not many doctors believed what I said because they have never seen or heard of any adult or child dying. After all, the antibiotics failed to work in the last decade.
So, denial, complacency.
It speaks to a dangerous complacency within the system, yeah? A systemic blindness to a growing existential threat that was, even back then, clearly unfolding.
And it was compounded by
The fact that by the mid-1980s, no new chemical class of antibiotics was discovered. None. Yet bacteria continued to evolve and share resistance genes at an alarming, unchecked rate.
So the pipeline was dry, but the problem was growing.
Exactly. And the World Health Organization, you mentioned them earlier back in February 2017, formally identified 12 bacteria families as imminent threats to human health and existence, requiring urgent new antibiotics, underscoring the severity that Srivatsa was warning about decades before.
Decades. That personal account really brings home the gravity of this. And it makes me wonder, given such early warnings and the lack of new drug discovery, how did we reach a point where, as the sources claim, antibiotics became our only product, our only real tool, leading us directly into this escalating crisis?
It's a critical question.
The source highlights that by the mid-1980s, despite this clear and present danger of bacterial evolution, no new chemical class of antibiotics was discovered. Yet, the reliance on existing antibiotics only intensified.
Putting all eggs in one basket.
Pretty much. And this situation is described as getting worse precisely because antibiotics were the one and only product the modern healthcare professionals relied on for so many conditions.
A dangerous over-reliance.
Hugely. Without foresight or diversification, it has led us to this precipice. The source paints a grim picture, predicting that the superbug pandemic could escalate annual deaths from around 3 million currently.
Which is already huge.
Already staggering, yeah. To a potential 10 million by 2050 if proper caution isn't taken.
10 million a year.
Oh, yeah.
That's hard to comprehend.
It's a terrifying projection, and it shows the stark reality that, as the sources put it, we cannot have everything we need forever because it is the universe that decides the ultimate laws of biology and adaptation.
Right. There are limits, natural laws.
Exactly. Our human systems have to respect these fundamental universal laws. We can't just ignore them.
And this calls into question the entire foundation of modern medical practice if its most fundamental tools are failing. You know, when our primary solution becomes ineffective, what does that actually mean for the future of healthcare and, well, for humanity itself?
It's a massive question.
And the source bluntly states that the days of lying by healthcare profession claiming to protect humanity, save lives, and cure disease are coming to an abrupt halt.
Whoa. Lying. That's strong language.
It is. It's a profound declaration, suggesting a paradigm shift where the old promises of miraculous cures are just no longer sustainable if the underlying biological realities are ignored.
So the narrative is breaking down.
That's the argument. The author challenges the very notion that medical advances often lauded as triumphs, things like transplant surgery or IVF, can continue without addressing the fundamental issue of bacterial resistance.
How so? Why are they linked?
Because those advanced procedures become incredibly risky, maybe even impossible, if we can't control basic infections post-surgery or during treatment.
Ah, okay. Makes sense. You need working antibiotics for those things to succeed.
Exactly. And this understanding forces us to confront the truth of the situation, however uncomfortable it might be. It reveals the deep flaws in systems built on, well, illusion and unchecked power, rather than on a holistic respect for universal laws.
And the source doesn't shy away from pointing fingers, does it? Accusing people in power of contributing significantly to this crisis through their actions and policies.
No, it's quite direct. The author describes being personally harassed and humiliated by people in power in the NHS in the UK for trying to find solutions and simply raise awareness about this unfolding catastrophe.
That's deeply concerning. Instead of supporting efforts, the system pushed back.
That's the claim. Push back against those sounding the alarm, prioritizing existing structures over necessary change.
And what else?
Furthermore, the source critiques the widespread use of what it calls unqualified medical personnel, like nurse prescribers, who are forced to follow pre-printed assessment sheets.
Following a script, basically.
Right. And misleading and masterminded protocol disguised in a whitewashed expression, the NICE guidelines. Now, just to clarify for our listeners, the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence, NICE guidelines, they're meant to be evidence-based recommendations used in the UK.
Okay, so they have a legitimate purpose.
They do. But the source suggests that in this context, they became a kind of cost-cutting measure, potentially leading to ill-conceived diagnosis and putting patients at severe risk,
How does that worsen antibiotic resistance?
by potentially leading to more misdiagnosis and therefore more inappropriate antibiotic use. If you treat a viral infection with antibiotics because the protocol leads you there, you fuel resistance.
Got it. So it exacerbates the core problem.
Exactly. This suggests a broader systemic issue where maybe profit and efficiency are prioritized over thorough, individualized patient care. It points to a failure of that core principle, do no harm, when doctors or other staff are forced to follow protocols that might be clinically unsound in a specific case.
Or when less qualified personnel handle complex diagnoses under these rigid protocols.
Right. And the author's personal struggles to highlight this issue, the pushback he received. It just underscores the deep-seated resistance to change within established power structures.
Which reinforces that idea you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that the existing system, perhaps built too much on economic interests and centralized control, really struggles to adapt to fundamental biological realities.
Pushing us closer to that future where our interventions are limited.
Exactly. A future where medical interventions are severely limited due to widespread resistance, further eroding public trust and individual well-being. The focus here in these sources is really on exposing the truth of the situation, no matter how uncomfortable, and how it reveals the deep flaws in systems built on illusion and unchecked power.
Okay, so if our current system is flawed, operating on these illusions, facing the collapse of its primary solution like antibiotics, and our reliance on single solutions is crumbling, where can we look for guiding principles? How do we navigate this complex terrain?
Well, this is where our sources lead us to an ancient yet profoundly relevant concept from Indian religions,
Dharma.
dharma.
Okay.
It's not just a religious term. It's presented as a profound philosophical and ethical framework that offers a compelling alternative way forward.
How is it defined?
Dharma comes from a Sanskrit root dhr, which literally means to hold or to support.
To hold or support. Okay.
In essence, it refers to the law that sustains things, from one's life to society and to the universe at large. It's about fundamental order, righteousness, and the underlying principles that ensure cosmic and social harmony.
So it's bigger than just individual morality.
Much bigger. And what's truly fascinating here is its multifaceted nature and its enduring relevance. Dharma isn't a rigid, one-size-fits-all concept, but a dynamic one.
How so?
Well, on one hand, it refers to an individual's moral responsibilities or duties, their savadharma, which are context-dependent. For instance, a farmer's dharma, their duty, differs from a soldier's, reflecting their unique roles and obligations in society.
So it acknowledges diversity.
It does, while still anchoring it to a universal moral code. But Dharma also extends far beyond individual duties to an ethical social sense that links human beings to each other and to other life forms.
Ah, that interconnectedness idea.
Exactly. This broader perspective emphasizes interconnectedness, collective well-being, ecological balance, rather than purely individualistic or self-serving pursuits. This is why Dharma is considered a pan-Indian concept, appearing in various Indian religions and ancient texts as a foundational principle for right living and societal order.
And this isn't just abstract philosophy, right? The sources say it was integrated into governance.
Absolutely. Our sources explain Dharma as an indispensable and influential guide for personal actions from a moral standpoint, effectively delineating the ethical pathways for all human activities. It's like a comprehensive moral compass, pointing you towards truth, justice, and proper conduct in every aspect of life.
Like a code of conduct.
More fundamental than that, perhaps. Ancient political thinkers like Manu, Yajnavalkya, and particularly Kautilya, whose work the Arthashastra is a prime example, they integrated Dharma directly into governance.
How did they do that?
They provided explicit guidelines for rulers to restrain power misuse and guide them towards righteous conduct. Rajadharma, the Dharma of the king. Even after achieving victory in wars, Rulers were expected to adhere to Dharma's ethical principles.
So power wasn't absolute, it was tempered by morality.
That was the ideal, yes. Power had to be tempered by morality and this concept of universal law.
And the epics illustrate this.
Vividly, the great Indian epics, the Mahabharata and Ramayana, are cited as symbolic treatises on life, virtues, customs, morals, ethics, and law. They illustrate these principles through powerful narratives.
Give us an example.
Okay, take the Ramayana. King Dasharatha upholds his dharma by honoring a promise he made to his wife Kaikeyi, even though it results in his beloved son Rama's exile and causes him immense personal suffering.
His duty came first.
His duty, his word, took precedence over personal desire or political expediency. Then in the Mahabharata, near the very end, Yudhishthira, the embodiment of dharma, is praised for refusing to abandon his companion. A dog. Yes, a dog that followed him faithfully. He refused to leave it behind, even when offered entry into paradise without it.
Wow.
This selfless act showcased his unwavering commitment to dharma, valuing loyalty and compassion above even the allure of eternal reward.
So these are deep ethical lessons. How does this ancient wisdom apply today, especially to governance and healthcare, given the issues of exploitation and hierarchy we discussed?
It's the crucial connection the sources make. They suggest that ethical governance today requires values like probity, integrity, compassion, empathy, and responsibility.
Probity, what's that exactly?
Probity ensures public interest as the sole purpose of administration, devoid of wrongdoing or corruption. And responsibility cultivates internal accountability based on conscience.
So that could be a powerful antidote to corruption and self-interest in our health systems, right? If leaders felt that internal accountability.
Precisely. It's a fundamentally different basis for action than pure self-interest or external compliance.
So Dharma isn't just about ancient rituals or myths. It's presented as a universal philosophy rooted in truth, morality, and harmony.
Exactly. A practical, enduring framework for navigating life, especially in complex times like ours.
And the principles it emphasizes.
Principles like Dharma itself, righteousness, karma, the law of action and consequence, and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, meaning the world is one family.
Universal brotherhood.
Yes. These are presented as an ideal framework for national and global peace, justice, and progress. In essence, the sources argue, Dharma ensures that truth and justice prevail over political deception, and that Dharma triumphs over adharma, or unrighteousness, injustice, chaos.
Imagine a system, whether in politics or healthcare, where actions were consistently guided by that deep sense of moral duty and universal well-being rather than just profit or control.
It would be radically different. This perspective encourages a holistic view in decision-making, ensuring benefits reach all stakeholders, not just a select few or those with power and influence. It's a profound counter-narrative to the self-serving systems we talked about earlier, calling us back to fundamental truths.
Okay, so given these profound challenges in modern healthcare, the critique of its illusions, and the enduring wisdom of Dharma, let's turn now to a contemporary response, something that seeks to bridge these gaps and empower individuals. The Dr. Maya initiative.
Right, bringing it to the present day.
Exactly. The autobiography of Srivatsa tells us the book and app are named Dr. Maya, but the author clarifies the crucial dual meaning of Maya in this context, which is fascinating.
It is. How does he explain it?
Well, when interviewed about his book, the author responded first with an acronym, Maya Medical Advice You Assess.
Putting the assessment back on the individual.
Oh. Instantly. It shifts the power dynamic right there, placing the individual at the center of their health decisions. But then he also stated, quite unequivocally, that Maya means illusion, an illusion to believe only the doctors can save your life.
Wow. Directly confronting that dependency.
Directly. This is presented as a core tenet of the entire initiative, dismantling the fear and dependency we discussed earlier. The goal, therefore, is to demystify healthcare and helps to lift patients, actively dissolving that illusion of dependency and, as the sources suggest, setting individuals free to remain healthy and happy.
And what's truly illuminating here, I think, is how Dr. Maya represents a fundamental departure from control-based healthcare.
A departure how?
Instead of the institutional control that, as we've explored, can lead to dependency, economic exploitation, and even systemic blindness, it advocates for individual empowerment.
Okay.
This directly addresses that veil of illusion created by the current system, where information asymmetry and paternalistic control often leave patients feeling disempowered and fearful, by explicitly revealing that Maya is indeed an illusion.
The illusion that only doctors can save you.
Exactly. The initiative seeks to free people from the fear that the sources argue, has often been inflicted by doctors and those in power, giving them back their agency to remain healthy and happy. It's about recognizing that true health comes from an informed, engaged individual, not just a passive recipient of directives.
This sounds like a complete and profound shift in mindset, doesn't it? Moving from passive acceptance to active, informed participation.
It really does.
The core information tells us that Dr. Maya aims to teach individuals to understand their own bodies and health conditions. Now, that's a radical concept in a system that often guards medical knowledge, makes it seem esoteric and inaccessible.
Right. Taking it out of the ivory tower.
Yeah. It seeks to replace fear-based compliance, where you simply follow orders out of anxiety or lack of information, with color-coded wisdom.
Color-coded wisdom, what does that imply?
It implies clear, accessible, easily digestible information that empowers you to make informed decisions. Fundamentally, it promotes personal responsibility over institutional dependency.
Shifting the locus of control.
Exactly. And the Dr. Maya app itself is presented as a practical tool designed to facilitate this empowerment. It helps patients differentiate common illnesses from critical illnesses and know when to isolate an infected person. Basic, but crucial knowledge.
Things people used to know more commonly, perhaps.
Perhaps. And it offers features like connecting with physicians globally via voice or video call, scheduling appointments, reviewing medicine, nutrition and mental health counseling, and urgent care access.
So it uses technology to enable access and knowledge.
Right. This kind of accessibility in education is specifically designed to reduce wasted consultations and unnecessary hospitalization, putting control and informed decision-making back into the individual's hands.
And this raises that important question again. How crucial is it for individuals to reclaim this agency, particularly now in a world where the failures of the conventional system, like that looming crisis of antibiotic resistance, are becoming so apparent?
What did the sources say?
The sources suggest that without it, we risk a profound loss of human agency. They even use the term infantilization of adults.
Infantilization.
Yeah, creating generations unable to take responsibility for their own well-being. Dr. Maya's approach, in contrast, aims to build genuine confidence and self-efficacy, allowing people to participate as equals in healthcare decisions rather than as passive recipients.
Equals, not supplicants.
Precisely. This is about fostering a critically thinking, engaged populace, not just compliant patients. It's about breaking free from the fear that, according to the sources, has been used to maintain control and hoard wealth, shifting power dynamics in a fundamental way towards individual autonomy and health literacy.
Okay, so given this vision of empowerment and self-efficacy, what does this all mean for the role of technology like artificial intelligence, AI, in this new empowered healthcare landscape? Because AI is everywhere now.
It is, and our sources offer a nuanced and actually quite critical perspective here.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, while Dr. Maya itself is a technological solution, it's an app. The author from the autobiography explicitly criticizes reliance on self-medication and advice, or treatments using algorithms and artificial intelligence to render medical advice.
So he's wary of AI doctors.
He seems to be. He challenges the idea that AI technology alone can provide a miracle cure.
Okay, that's a vital distinction. It's not the tech itself, but the reliance on it as a cure-all.
Exactly. And it speaks to the deeper philosophical argument running through our sources. It's not the technology itself that's necessarily the problem, but how it's used and the mindset behind that use. The message is clear. People in power, philanthropists, healthcare professionals, they might be hoping to miraculously find a miracle cure using AI technology.
Like the next magic bullet after antibiotics.
Perhaps. But this hope, the sources suggest, is in itself another illusion if not properly understood.
How could AI perpetuate the illusion?
Well, this in-depth analysis suggests that AI, especially in its current protocol-driven form, can actually perpetuate the same misleading and masterminded protocol that leads to errors and fosters dependency. Just like we discussed earlier regarding things like the NICE guidelines.
So it could just automate the existing flawed system.
That's the risk highlighted by the author. AI alone cannot provide a miracle cure, especially if it simply codifies existing flawed practices without deeper wisdom.
So what's the alternative view on AI's potential?
Instead, the underlying message, which seems deeply rooted in the broader philosophical context of Dharma, is that AI serves as a communicational channel.
A channel?
Yeah, a channel created by the universe itself, perhaps. Its true potential, then, isn't to be the cure, but to help us change our mindset, stop believing the lies, seek the truth, and know the truth.
So AI as a tool for human understanding, not a replacement for it.
Precisely. It's not about replacing human critical thinking and logical judgment with algorithms, but about potentially empowering and amplifying those very human capacities for discernment and understanding.
Which aligns with Dharma.
It aligns beautifully with Dharma's emphasis on practical wisdom over mere statistical morality. It acknowledges that healing follows universal laws, not statistical trends, and respects the mystery and unpredictability of life and healing.
Right. Life isn't just an algorithm.
Exactly. The ultimate goal, as the author states, is to remove the illusion that only doctors can save your life, encouraging a deeper understanding of one's own health and the universal principles governing it. And that is what allows individuals to reclaim their free will and set themselves free to remain healthy and happy.
Okay, so as we draw towards the conclusion of this deep dive, it feels like we stand at a crossroads, according to these sources, facing a really profound choice for humanity.
It does feel that way based on their arguments.
We can continue down the current path of statistical supremacy, institutional control, and human diminishment, a trajectory that prioritizes systems and maybe profit over individual well-being and free will.
The path of potentially deepening the illusion.
Right. Or we can embrace the Dr. Maya principle, which our sources explicitly connect to the core tenets of Dharma, a path rooted in truth and universal laws.
A path of dissolving the illusion.
Exactly. And the Breaking the Illusion source outlines a pretty dire future without change. It predicts escalating authoritarianism, where fear-based health fears are used to justify increasingly authoritarian measures, eroding civil liberties and democratic participation.
That's a chilling prospect, using health as a pretext for control.
Yeah. The sources further illustrate this with stark warnings that health crises could become pretext for permanent expansion of government control over individual choices, movement, and decision-making, leading to social division between those who comply and those who resist, creating a deeply fractured society, one where our most fundamental freedoms are constantly at risk under the guise of public health.
And there was another source echoing this.
Yes, the why 99.6% of you will never be independent source. It echoes this, describing a potentially hypnotized India that scrolls past real suffering and pauses only for viral nonsense, where those who raise their voice or question the prevailing narrative are quickly labeled anti-national.
That paints a picture of suppressed dissent and widespread apathy, which raises that important question for each of us listening. Are we inadvertently trading our free will for a false sense of security?
Right. Are we letting fear dictate our choices and erode our fundamental freedoms?
The sources clearly link the current healthcare model to unsustainable costs and a profound loss of human agency, where individuals lose the capacity for independent health decision-making, leading to societies unable to respond adaptively and intelligently to health challenges. This is precisely the veil of illusion, the Maya, that the Dr. Maya initiative aims to dissolve.
But here's where the alternative path offers a profound sense of hope and empowerment, right? Directly contrasting those grim predictions.
Yes, the path aligned with Dharma.
It involves honoring clinical experience again, empowering individual agency, and recognizing the limits of statistical modeling to create healthcare that truly serves human flourishing.
Getting back to human values.
Exactly. It requires us, as the sources say, to remove the veil of illusion and respect and follow the law of the universe to survive.
That connection to universal law again.
Yes. This is where the essence of Dharma as a moral and ethical guide becomes paramount, especially in a world grappling with information overload and manufactured fear.
And the sources encourage a shift in focus.
A crucial shift, yeah. From relying solely on external miracle cures, whether antibiotics or perhaps AI, to fostering an internal understanding of health, recognizing that the universe ultimately decides the laws of nature.
And the author's personal experience speaks to this.
It does. The author from the autobiography provides a powerful personal testament. He mentions having diagnosed hundreds of patients for over 40 years without getting infected himself.
Despite close contact with illness.
Right. And he attributes it not to vaccinations or drugs, but to understanding and working with the germs within our body.
A very different perspective on immunity and health.
It suggests a deeper, more integrated understanding of health, doesn't it? One where the individual's inherent resilience and the natural balance of the body are prioritized, aligned with universal laws, rather than solely relying on external intervention to fight external threats.
And this calls for critical thinking from all of us. Questioning assumptions, considering multiple perspectives.
Definitely. It's about realizing that, as one source puts it, you can lie for some time, but not all the time. And that True well-being comes from aligning our actions with universal laws rather than succumbing to fear and control.
And that current approach, relying solely on antibiotics, the one and only product for many healthcare professionals,
Hmm.
it's ultimately unsustainable, isn't it? Because the universe has its own laws of evolution and adaptation, which we ignore at our peril.
Right, those days of just claiming protection and cures without respecting those deeper truths.
The sources say they are coming to an abrupt halt. This understanding, rooted in Dharma, empowers us to stop believing the lies, seek the truth, know the truth, and ultimately reclaim our free will to remain healthy and happy. It's a call to profound personal and societal transformation.
Ultimately, this deep dive really shows us that reclaiming health and happiness isn't just about medicine. It's about reclaiming our free will, understanding the illusions, the Maya that have been potentially created around us, and choosing a path of wisdom, compassion, and personal responsibility, a path deeply rooted in the principles of Dharma.
Hmm.
It's about recognizing that people in power, whether they are doctors, religious leaders, financial institutions, or lawmakers, perhaps cannot permanently inflict fear to hoard wealth and power because the immutable laws of the universe and the truth will eventually prevail. That seems to be the profound message our sources offer, a pathway to genuine freedom and well-being.
A powerful synthesis.
Wow, what an expansive journey that was. The intricate world of healthcare, ancient philosophy, and personal empowerment.
It really covered a lot of ground.
We've explored the critiques of a system that, our sources suggest, can sometimes prioritize profit and control over genuine well-being, potentially manufacturing dependency through fear and these statistical illusions.
And we saw how the over-reliance on antibiotics created this singular vulnerable point in modern medicine, and how that system is now arguably failing, leading to a profound shift in our understanding of health and healing.
And we've seen how the profound concept of dharma, that law that sustains the universe, guiding righteous conduct and emphasizing ethical responsibility, offers a timeless framework for navigating these modern complexities.
Right. And the Dr. Maya initiative stands out as a contemporary effort to break this illusion, emphasizing that Maya means illusion, an illusion to believe only the doctors can save your life.
That core message again.
Yeah. It empowers individuals with knowledge and agency, guiding them, as the sources urge, to change our mindset, stop believing the lies, seek the truth, and know the truth.
So, what does this all mean for you, our listener, as we wrap up this deep dive?
The takeaway.
Yeah. It means recognizing that the power to remain healthy and happy might lie not just in external interventions, but in reclaiming your own free will, trusting your informed judgment, and seeing through the Maya the illusion that only external authorities hold the key to your health.
Taking back that power.
Exactly. It's about seeking the truth and aligning with a universal understanding of well-being. Understanding that the universe decides, in a way, and our human systems must respect those fundamental laws to truly thrive.
Which leaves us with a final question for you, the listener, to consider. In an age of information overload and rapidly evolving health challenges, how can you cultivate your own sense of Dharma,
Hmm.
both in your personal health choices and in your engagement with the wider world? How can you cultivate that inner compass to truly thrive, free from the shackles of fear and manufactured dependency? How will you discern the truth and act in alignment with those universal principles?
Definitely food for thought. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep digging for those insights and questioning the illusions around you.